In this video, I'll demonstrate how to create a database using Python and SQLite, how to add items to the database, update items in the database, read from the database, and delete items in the database. First, I'll import the SQLite module. SQLite is included in the Python library. Next, I'll create the database if the database doesn't already exist. I'll call the database book. And this statement will create the file book.db and add it to whatever directory I choose. In this case, it will be added to this directory, which is shown here. Next, I'll connect to the cursor in the database in order to run SQL commands, including the command execute. And we'll use execute to actually create the table. Within this table, I've created default values for each column. So the columns are ID, title, author, and pub date or publication date. I'll be entering in book information in the next part of the video. Next, we'll save the database using the commit attribute, and we'll close the database using the close attribute. So I'll save this file, hit run. And I'll scroll down here so you can see that book.db was created. The file book.db was created, and that file again houses our database. Next, I'll move to this file. The first 3 lines of code are the same as the lines of code in the create file. We'll use these SQLite statements to insert data into the database, and we'll use the execute attribute again to add that data to the database. I'll hit play. You can't see anything, but this information has been added to the database. Next, I'll go over to the read file. Again, the first 3 lines are going to be the same, but now we'll use the connect to cursor.execute statement to select all of the rows within my book database. So I'll hit play, and you could see that since there's just one item in our database or one row in our database, that was printed out. And that was printed out because we used the fetch all command to gather all of the data from the database and print it out. I'll go back to the update file I created. So now we're going to add another row to the database. And I'll save the file and hit run. And what I'm seeing here, this error, unique constraint failed book ID, is because it's trying to add in, or the program is trying to add in this line of code again, even though it's already been added in. So I'm just going to comment out that line of code. And save and try to run it again. All right, perfect. So no errors this time. I'll go back over to my read file. I'll run the same command where I'm fetching all of the data from the book database or the book table. And now you can see that we have 2 rows printed out. So the first row with becoming and the second row with of blood and bone. Next, I'm going to show you how to delete items from the database. So first 3 lines are the same, and this time we'll use delete from. These are SQL statements to delete all of the items from the book table. And I'm going to use print fetch all to show that there are no items in the book table. All right, so you can see here that an empty list is printed. I'm going to go back over to the over to the update file, comment out this line of code so that we don't end up inserting data into the database again. I'm going to uncomment the print statement that runs the command to fetch all items in the database. Hit save and run it again. Again, it's an empty array.